Hello, I'm Dr. Harper. This video is in Management of Operations BUSN 6630, the exam study guide. So let's bring up the study guide. So in this exam study guide, I'll start with general information, the exam design, exam study guide, and then go through the actual questions categories. Okay, first of all, the general information. An examination designed for evaluation will be given in this course. And I want to emphasize the phrase designed for evaluation. I don't consider an exam learning. It's more evaluating what you have learned. Therefore, I will try hard to design this to ask you questions you would know, and that's why I'm giving you this guide, so you come in knowing, and therefore I'll evaluate what you do know. Okay, exam will be multiple choice, timed, open book, open notes. Exam will be over 4 topics, 15 multiple choice questions. You only have 60 minutes to take the exam. So approximately 4 minutes per question. No collaboration. Each student must take their own exam. Collaboration is cheating. No communication with any outside agent is allowed. No sharing of material or equipment is allowed. If academic dishonesty occurs on exam, the student will receive a 0 for the exam. Any incident of academic dishonesty may be reported to the Internal Affairs Committee of the Business School for further action, or University of Colorado in Denver. No exam accepted after the end of the course. Exam grades will be posted on Canvas. Course grades will be reported to the registrar and not be posted on Canvas. Okay, the exam design. Exam questions will approximately be distributed over 4 topics. Forecasting, 4 questions. Linear programming, 3 questions. Aggregate planning, 4 questions. Inventory, 4 questions. I say approximately because sometimes information from one topic could bleed over to the other topic, and you need information from one topic for another topic. But generally, there'll be 15 questions distributed this way. Exam study guide. For each question, this guide will describe the material and type of question that will be asked. Since the exam is open book and open notes, purposes of this guide are not only to review the material, but also to know where to find the material for the answers in your notes. In other words, when you take the exam, it's having your notes in front of you, understanding the question, understanding the answers, knowing where to find the answers, and then putting them together. So basically, that's the evaluation that I'm after, that I'm measuring. Some questions will be qualitative, some will be quantitative. Therefore, a calculator will be helpful. Also, the wording and values in the actual exam questions can vary from this guide. Now, even their calculations, a calculator will be helpful. A computer program software is not necessary. The quantitative is usually multiplying, adding things, dividing 2 numbers, something like that. So nothing really, there's not a lot of quantitative requirements. Okay, let's go through each topic. Topic 1, forecasting, 4 questions. The first question will be based on the relationship between the components existing in the time series and the preferred forecasting technique. For example, a random component only indicates a moving average or exponential smoothing technique. Random and trend components indicate a regression technique. Random and seasonal components indicate seasonal indexes, the seasonal index technique. Question 2. Question 2 is based on the mechanics in the relationship seasonal forecast equals the seasonally adjusted forecast times the seasonal index. In other words, there are 3 things there. I'll give you 2, ask for the 3rd. So there'll be either addition, either multiplication, division, just one operation if you know what you're looking at. Question 3. Question 3 will be based on the mechanics of moving average with a window identified. So I'll give you the window. For example, in this time series 2, 4, 6, 8, for years 1, 2, 3, 4 respectively, the forecast for year 5 using moving average of window of 2 is you add the last two numbers. 6 plus 8 divided by 2 is 7. I could ask a moving average window of 2, window of 3, window of 4, and so you'll be adding and taking an average of numbers. So there's where the calculations come in. Question 4. Question 4 is based on a 2-year quarterly time series with only seasonal and random components. As a matter of fact, in the exam, you will see a table just like this, but different numbers, of course. And so you'll have quarters up here. You'll have years, it would be 2 years, and you'll have the numbers just like this in the some of the rows and some of the columns. Possible questions I could ask is the seasonal forecast for quarter 1 of year 3. Okay, quarter 1, since it's seasonal and random, quarter 1 of year 3 would be 6 divided by 2. The seasonal adjusted forecast for quarter 3 of year 3, well, is 40, and there's 8 numbers. 40 divided by 8 is 5. So I could ask a forecast for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, anything. So here's an example, possible questions, an example of the questions for question 4. So that's topic 1. Topic 2 is linear programming, approximately 3 questions. Question 1 is qualitative. Based on the type of LP described, question 1 will be based on the type of LP described. Identify the type of LP. For example, a product mix is producing products that does not exceed capacity of resources and maximizes profit. Ingredient mix, purchasing ingredients that minimizes cost and meets requirements. Transportation determines a shipping schedule from sources to destinations that minimizes cost. When I describe something, oh, that's a product mix problem. That's an ingredient mix problem. Question 2 is based on the definitions and mechanics of LP formulation. For example, in the LP, minimize x plus y, subject to this constraint and this constraint. For the mix of x equals 1, y equals 2, well, the slack is 2, the surplus is 4, and the value of the objective function is 3. So it's just being able to put the x and y into here to get the objective function, which is 3, into here to get the left-hand side, which is 10, is greater than 6 by 4. 1 and 2 in here is 7, which is 2 less than 9. Okay. Question 3 is based on the definitions and mechanics related to binding and non-binding constraints. For example, in the product mix problem given here, and I'll give you a table just like this, for A equals 1 and B equals 2 for the mix of 1 and 2, resource X is binding, Y is non-binding, and Z is non-binding. Because if I have A is 1 and B is 2, this is 12 plus 1 is 13, that's binding. 10 plus 2 is 12, that's non-binding. 8 plus 3 is 11, that's non-binding. And that's topic 2. Topic 3. Topic 3 is based on the relationships between pure strategies of level and chase, the variability in demand, and control over inventory or labor. For example, it'll be a question based on one of these ideas of the inventory is independent of demand variability for a pure chase strategy. The labor is independent of demand variability for a pure level strategy. The most control over inventory is for a pure strategy. The most control over labor is for a level strategy. Question 2 is based on the mechanics in the relationship. The production equals production standard times the number of FTEs. Specifically, find the number of FTEs from the information given. So there's 3 things here. I give you the first 2 and ask for the third. Okay, question 3. Based on recognizing the type of aggregate planning strategy from the quarterly demand and quarterly production for a year. For example, if the quarterly production was 5555 and the quarterly demand was 4682, then that represents a level strategy. If the quarterly production is 4682 and the quarterly demand is 4682, that represents a chase strategy. The quarterly production of 3771 and the demand of 4682, that's a mixed strategy. And finally, the quarterly production of 5793 and 4682, well, it's not level. It's either chase or mixed. And if I compare 4793 with 4682, I notice that the last production here, each one of these, the production is one more than the demand. 4 plus 1 is 5, 6 plus 1 is 7, 8 plus 1 is 9, 2 plus 1 is 3. So it's not a mixed, so it's a chase. Okay, question 4 is based on the mechanics in the relationship production equals production standard times the number of FTEs. Specifically, I'll give you the production and number of FTEs, and I ask for the production standard. And notice the similarity between question 2 and question 3. So what I'm doing here is giving you information two different ways and asking for two different things. But it's the same relationship. Okay. Topic number 4, inventory. 4 questions. Now, question 1 will be based on the relationship in this graph, where you have Q in the x-axis, cost in the y-axis. This linear line right here is the total carrying cost, which is Q over 2 times C sub C. This line here is the total ordering cost, D over Q times C sub O. You add those together, that's the total inventory cost, and that is for a safety stock of 0. Now from this graph, it's interpreting the graph. And I'll probably give you an inventory policy, and I give you an EOQ. And so if EOQ is right here, now if Q is greater than EOQ, then the carrying cost is more than the ordering cost. If Q is less than EOQ, then the ordering cost is greater than the carrying cost. Okay? If Q equals EOQ, then they're equal. And so notice I'll be asking, it's either greater than, less than, the ordering cost and carrying cost is either greater than, less than, or equality for a Q and the EOQ. And I'll be giving you an inventory policy. I'll give you an EOQ value and ask for one of these three. So question will be based on that. In the question, I will not give you the graph. You have to pull that from your notes. I'll just speak, the possible questions will be just like these down here. Will be just this information. Question 2 is based on the relationship in the equations. Well, notice here's my inventory, the order quantity, and this is a stochastic demand because that's the mean demand. Here's your ROP, demand times lead time plus safety stock. Since that's the demand rate, this is the constant demand. ROP, since this is a mean, and this is a Z, and the sigma, this is ROP for stochastic demand. Specifically, I will ask for changes in the values due to changes in the safety stock. In other words, if the safety stock changes, how does it change these three values, or one of them, or two of them, or all of them? So it's a cause and effect. Changes in one that's going to cause a change in something else. One of those three. I ask for changes in one of these three. Okay, question 3 is based on the knowledge of the conditions that indicate the application of the base stock level inventory policy. For example, what you need to remember and need to know is specifically conditions related to the continuous versus periodic review systems and constant versus stochastic demand. In other words, when you talk about the base stock level, it will apply to either the continuous or periodic. It'll apply either to the constant demand or stochastic demand. You have to know which one. And I will ask you a question that requires that knowledge, that information. Question 4. Based on the relationships in the equations, I give it, notice again, the similarity to question 2. But this one, I give you the lot size, the ROP for constant demand, and the ROP for stochastic demand. But specifically, changes in the inventory policy due to changes in different input values. Now notice, this was changes in the safety stock, what happens. This is changes in the different input values and what's going to be an appropriate inventory policy. How does it change the inventory policy? In other words, I could change the mean here. I could change the lead time here. I could change the Z value or the sigma. I could change the alpha here, the stock out level. I could change anyway. Just if I change one of these things here, then how does it change the inventory policy? So this is the last question. So therefore, you have to understand the relationship between all these equations when one thing begins to change. So that's the exam review. That's the exam study guide and the exam questions and the exam review. I hope this helps. Good luck. Come in prepared, and you should do fine. I'm hoping you do fine, and that's why you have this exam study guide. So between the now and the next time I see you, take care.